Morning everybody, welcome back to another CYT-Crypto live show. My name is Stephen Aitchison and today we'll be going over the markets just as usual, and we're looking at the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts as well. What two signals we're going to look at today that could signal the start of a massive crypto rally. I'm thinking up to 13,000 or so. We spoke about it yesterday, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it could go up to 13,000. And we'll look at a couple of news headlines as well. Not that much news, but there's a big piece of news that could change things as well. So we'll share that with you. So be sure and stay tuned. Okay, I'm just going to see if we're live just to make sure everything is okay. Right, the lighting is not that good today. I've tried to fix it before it came on, but I think it's because it's getting light outside. And apologies for being late. I was just grabbing my coffee. Right, just see if we're live. Yes, we are live. Got a couple of people in, so I'm going to dive over to the chat area and then we'll get straight into it. Okay, who do we have in the house? We have Mike D, one of our Brown admins, is in the house. Mike, thanks very much for the couple of news stories you posted in the group over the last couple of days. I appreciate that. Stephen King is in the house. Gary Stewart is back with us. Donny Don Matthews here. JC Stander, Honest Crypto Johnny is back with us. Good to see you, mate. Mitch Dieter is in as well. Okay, we'll dive over to the markets, see what's going on. Okay, we have an overall market capitalization of $241 billion, coming up at $242 billion. Bitcoin took a dive yesterday, but then it kind of about turned and started going back up again. So we'll look at the Bitcoin chart in a wee second. We've got a Bitcoin dominance of 65.7%, which is good. It's coming down. So people are getting into alts, but the price is still going up with Bitcoin as well, which is good to see. See who the winners and losers are. We have Komodo is up 25%. Golem, we've seen jumping big time, is up 24%. And that's the only two in double-digit greens. But we'll have Quant, MadeSafe, Solve, Eternity, NEM, Nervos Network all up as well. And we've got a tranche of others as well. I think we've got about 30% in the red and 70% in the green. And the big ones, MCO, 5.58%, DIGIX, DAO, Decred, Stellar, not by that much, to be honest. But we'll just kind of flip it and look at Satoshi value. Does that change things? And this will tell us. It kind of flips it. So probably about 45, I'd say 45, 55 for the greens. So not by that much, so it's relatively stable for Satoshi value as well. Let's go back to USD. We'll go to the wider market and look at the rankings for the gainers and losers for the wider market. We have crypto verification is up 205% on 105,000 volumes. So that's good volume there. Dynamites, haven't heard of, up 144%. Vertcoin is up 100%. Vertcoin has been around for a while. 14 million volume, is up 108%. Why is it up 108%? Entanmo is up 49%. ETM, I've seen that before as well. Blocknet as well is up. Ethereum is up. Also, I just want to take a look at Vertcoin. Why is Vertcoin up 100%? Just have a look at the social feeds. New instructions for miner install, January 16th. So no major news. No. Nothing major that I can see there that would give the reason as to why it's up 108%. But as you can see from the charts, Vertcoin has been around for a while. And it has been extremely high as well. 351 million market cap. It's now 28 million market cap. Price has been higher though. Price has been to 781,000 Satoshi. It's now 6,000 Satoshi. A huge, huge, huge drop off there for Bitcoin. I think there was there might have been a dilution there in between times as well. Okay, so crypto bubbles, we'll dive over to see what's happening there. We'll just go to the last 24 hours in USD. We can see it's green across the board. That's Bitcoin gone up, and obviously people are buying the altcoins as well. So they're both going up at the same time, which is good. TT is up, that's good to see, up 84% on the month. It's not got it for the year, but 84% on the month. That's because it is the start of this year, so I must take it from the start of a new year, not a rolling year. And we have a market cap of 33 for Thundercore. Thundercore we mentioned way back at the beginning. I said it could be a good one because I was looking at who a lot of the big companies had invested in. Thundercore was one of them. GNT is up big time as well. We've seen that as well. We'll just look at it in Satoshi value, see how it changes things. Not by that much, which is good, which means both are kind of increasing at the same pace, or both are stable. That's really what that means when you're looking at Satoshi value being green and USD value being green as well. We'll go to the next, or the last hour. So predominantly red here, so that could mean Bitcoin is coming down in value just now over the last hour or so. So we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We'll look at it in Satoshi value, tons more green. So it could be that the selling of Bitcoin and going more into altcoins just now, just slightly. This, even a slight difference could make this chart look totally different, or make these bubbles look totally different. Fear and greed index, we're up to 52, still neutral. Nothing much going on there because the market is not, although the market is volatile, it's not, we're not getting extreme greed or extreme fear or anything. It's not hugely volatile that they were getting in a panic or we're getting too greedy. Excuse me. Okay, we'll go to the sentiment. Bitcoin, middle of the road, 49.58. Ethereum, 66.03. I'm still thinking Ethereum is going to explode. It's going to go past $200 very soon. I just think it's going to, that's not an explosion. That would only represent a kind of 20% increase or something like that. But I still think it's just going to take off. Now is the right time to start buying Ethereum. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Litecoin is 56.54, XRP is 76.44. Again, another one for looking at for starting to accumulate as well. Binance coin down to 40.84, although the price in dollar value has gone up. So good to see that. We'll look at some individual coins and see what's higher on the daily sentiment score. We have eBoost, but on 47 volume, so just ignore that altogether. BlockNet, we've seen Block is up 31% though, so we don't want to look at that. BRD has got a good sentiment, very high daily sentiment. Relative trading volume is 103%, but it's down 4.6.9%. So that's worth looking at when you've got a high sentiment score like that. So worth looking at bread to go back up again. Prism already up 27%. Golem with C up 28%. TNT, I think TNT could be worth looking at again. That kind of shot up, and we'll look at some of these as well. That did shoot up towards the end of last year, from September onwards, but I think that's one to look at again, possibly for trading. Could be a good one. Whereas Token Club is down 27% on 6.6 million volume. It's a lot of volume. Relative trading volume is 1800%, which is huge, so something going on there. Okay, and that's it. We'll just jump back to the chat area, see who else has joined us. If anybody, Kurt Colpan has joined us. Welcome to you. I don't think I've seen you on the channel before, but it's good to have you here. Melbourne Skidmore is in. Crypto Dread is back with us. Man, it's cold. In Florida, is it cold? Jointer Pro is in. Steve, hats off to you, man. You're still here. I've been sick of this for a long while now. Yeah, I'm still here. I'll still be. I'm like the kind of cockroaches in a nuclear kind of war or something. I'll still be here. Possibly. I'm looking at new ventures this year, which I'm really excited about. Okay, we'll dive over to Binance and Kucoin. What's going on at Binance? GNT, we've seen OGN has gone up as well. That started to go up. That kind of typically happens when a coin goes onto Binance. We'll see it going right down, and then we'll see it jump back up again, and then we'll see it again probably go down and up and down. So we can see the bottom there at 12.49. It's up at 15.42 just now, just coming up for a crossover on the daily, and it has been as high as 2,000, so about 100% from here for Origin token. CoCo's not doing much, it's just flipping between 6 and 7 Satoshi and then 7 and 8 Satoshi. CVC is up, we spoke about that yesterday, we looked at that yesterday. CIVIC is up just now, up 14%. COS is up 10%. Peril, I've seen Peril going up. I was holding that previously for a trade, and I looked at that just to see if I would be up in Peril, just to see by how much. But I got into, with the trading money, I got into another one on KuCoin, COTI, and I'd still be up. I'm up more in COTI than I would have been had I stayed in Peril. But only by about $100 or something. But COTI is a long-term pick that I think is going to be really good. Troy is starting to move as well. So not by that much. We're talking small percentages. Small percentages, 7%. You'd kill for that. But yeah, that's still relatively small compared to the others. Compared to 26%, 21%, and what we've seen over the last couple of weeks as well. Band, I've just noticed them kind of going up there as well. I think that's a really good one. A good prospect, actually, for trading. Yep, it's just crossing over on the daily. Oh, that's the 4 hourly. I was going to say it's never had a crossover on the daily. So Band could be a good one to look at again. I've called that a couple of times, but it's kind of disappointed. But it could be a good one to look at it again. I think that could be worth 5,000, or going up to 5,000 Satoshi or so. Okay, I'll look at KuCoin. What's happening on KuCoin? We'll look at KuCoin Plus. We've got VidDT, or VidT, sorry, is up 9.52%. VIDT, I think that could be a good one for the future as well. I think Jimbo looked at that a while ago, but it's come down since and starting to move back up again, so that looks good. Synthetics is moving, small percentage. Ethereum Classic still going up, we're still above the million Satoshi value level, and we've got BNB going up as well, so that's climbing all the time, BNB, and that's over the last few weeks has been going up. So it was at 1.8 million Satoshi, it's now at 2.09 million. Remember last year we did get up to 2.4 million. I still think that's going to go up big time as well. They're doing more and more things. Binance are just all over the place just now, which is amazing to see. AdBank is at the top of the main markets at 21.89%. You can see it's a long way to go till it gets to its kind of highs, but it's at 7 Satoshi just now, or 6.95, 6.96 Satoshi. Acro is up 19%. BPro we spoke about yesterday as well. We looked at that yesterday, up 13%. And that's Bet Protocol, and could be a good one to look at as well. Okay, where is COTI just now? We'll just look at them. 124 Satoshi. So still on an upward trajectory for COTI. And we've got a kind of, I've got a daily, I just go, a symmetrical triangle going on here. On the daily, let's pull that down. And I'll pull that down to here actually. Move that here. So it's good. I like to see these when I like to show these when it's a good example. So we've got a good example of a symmetrical triangle there. So we're looking to break out of the symmetrical triangle, and then where could we go from there? Obviously we could, I'll just take a look at this. We'll just, in fact we'll just keep on the trend line down to there. Move that up to there. So we could get up to the 194 level mark if it breaks out from there. Depends on where it breaks out obviously, but say round about the 200 level if we kind of break out from there. So COTI looks good for long term. DAG, where is DAG? And we spoke about DAG a lot of times before. DAG BTC. A lot of people are talking about that now. So 128 it's up to, came off its low round about 106. So it's up 100 to 128 just now. It did get up to 139. Still think it's a good one. It's coming up for the swap very soon as well. So we'll see what happens with that as well. Okay, dive back to chat area. If you want me to look at any charts, let me know. And I'll look at some charts for you and do a quick technical analysis. It's not really in-depth technical analysis. I'll do, but I'll look at the quick one. That's all you need just to look at it, just to see if it's worth going into and then dig deeper from there. Chris Cash is in the house this morning. Good morning to you. Join to pros, -Lee, by the way, right? It's yourself. Good to have you back. Chris Cash, smash the likes, of course. Yes, hit those like buttons as well. Join pros, something to think about. People talk about the history of BTC price and how it repeats, but surely there is more BTC mined now and a lot more held by big hands who can influence movement in the market. Of course, yeah, there definitely is. And there's always been kind of big players in the market, but and there's definite. Would you call it manipulation or just trading? So if you had, a lot of people call it manipulation. I think that's, and I've done it in the past as well. Say, oh, we're being manipulated, but it's somebody with a big kind of wad of kind of Bitcoin. If we had 3,000 or 4,000 Bitcoin and we could make money, essentially manipulating the market by selling kind of Bitcoin and going short on it as well. So you go short on BitMEX or Bybit or whatever, and then you sell all your Bitcoin and it goes down. So that's just shorting. Then that's going to close out the longs. So it shorts, it goes down even further. Would you do that? Is that market manipulation? Are you manipulating the markets? Technically, yes. Technically, yes, because you're holding a big portion of the kind of Bitcoin pie, and you can manipulate the markets because you've got such a big holding. But it could be seen as we're trading. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing when we trade. We're just doing a much smaller scale. When you short the market or when you short Bitcoin, you're doing it on a much smaller scale. It's not really going to have any huge significance on the market. It's just the fact that some players have a lot more Bitcoin to play with. So I think it's just ups and downs of the market. I think that's what we have, how we have to look at it. Instead of crying market manipulation all the time. I don't think it's the Feds or anything like that, or the US government or anything like that. I think it's just players who are in the game from the very get-go. And something I've been thinking about a lot over the last few weeks. This must change the dynamics of the future price. To a degree, yes, because if you think about it as well, if you held maybe 1,000 or 2,000 Bitcoin, you'd have sold off a lot and put it into circulation by now as well. You wouldn't just keep hold of your Bitcoin just because it was going up. If you've got, say, 1,000 Bitcoin, that's worth a hell of a lot of money. So you're going to sell some of that as well, but still keep hold of it, and you'll be set up for the future. So a lot of it has been sold into circulation. Imagine just now if you held 10 Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin went up to $50,000. So you've got 10 Bitcoin, it's up to $50,000. You think $500,000, that's could be, for some people, could be a life-changing amount of money. So you sell off, but then the price keeps on going up. It goes up to 100,000, it goes up to 150,000, 200,000. So that money, though, that Bitcoin, you've now put back into circulation because you've sold off. And that's what happens with the big players as well, and the big whales. They're going to sell some off and it goes into circulation. It's not that they keep hold of the 1,000 Bitcoin or 10,000 Bitcoin or whatever it is, and they'll put some into it just to get some money. In different ways, of course. John Graham is in the house, welcome to you. Donny Don Matthew, Steve, with EOS saying voice would be on another chain. Wonder if I should hold EOS further because there would be no real product. I'm not too au fait with EOS, to be honest, Donny Don. And join to pro, of course, trading to make money, but it's all in effect. Yes, definitely. So technically, yes, it is manipulation because you're holding a bigger chunk than most people. Gary Stewart, how many BTC do you have? Absolutely zero. I have ETNs though, exchange traded notes, which is not the same as holding kind of Bitcoin, but I have ETNs for the future. So I have 0 Bitcoin. Mac Pollen is in. Good morning to you. Well, I do have, that's not, I'm saying I've got 0 Bitcoin. I've got a very small amount for trading, a tiny amount that I use for trading, but not that much at all, but it's in ETNs. So if somebody was to come to my house and try and rob me of Bitcoin, I don't have it. Literally don't have Bitcoin. I don't have physical Bitcoin. I've got ETNs, and you can't get hold of ETNs either. So I'm just being open and honest. Right, okay, we'll go to the news. No, we'll look at the main news story actually before we go on to news. David Schwartz is in. Good morning to you. Natasha Sakamoto, hi, Waves chart please, if not done recently. We'll look at that after as well. So we'll do that after the news and the main news story. That these two signals for Bitcoin and Ethereum, or it's a one signal, but it's happening for both of them just now. This could spark a massive rally, but we'll look at the Bitcoin chart first, see what's going on. Come down here. Okay, Bitcoin chart 8,634. It did get up to 8,700, or we were up to 8,700, and we'll just go to the daily, see what's going on there. So we're still above this previous resistance line on this kind of downward channel, or the descending channel that we're in for Bitcoin. We're still above that, which is a good sign. We are still, the 70 EMA is still crossed over the 50 EMA, which is a good sign also. The 200 EMA, we'll just look at the EMAs as well. I don't think I've got them here actually. I don't think I saved them. Is that the 100 EMA? 200 EMA, yeah. And is that the 100? So we'll just look at the 200 moving average. So we still need to climb that, but it's coming down, obviously. So before we'd had to get above 9,400 to cross at the 200 MA, but that is coming down as well. So we're going to meet that eventually. We're going to cross that eventually, and that'll spark another kind of move for Bitcoin, I would imagine, once it's crossed over the 200 MA. So that's coming soon as well, which is another bullish sign for Bitcoin. It's refusing to go below that 8,600. It did kind of dip below that, or it wicked below it, but it didn't close on it or below it. So it's refusing to close below the 8,600, which is another good sign as well for Bitcoin. So that's moving up just now. But it was at 8,792. So technically it's kind of coming down from that level. So we could see a drop from here. Now I'm just going to show you these kind of moves as well. I'll show you Ethereum USD just to give you an idea. I'm just going to go on to PUNDIXX actually. So on the Ethereum USD dollar, we'll just look, we're touching the 200 MA for that as well. So very similar to Bitcoin. What's happening with Ethereum is very kind of similar to what's happening with Bitcoin and vice versa. Crossed over on daily, which is a good sign. We've not crossed over the 200 MA yet. I would imagine there's been a channel here as well. We can see, without actually putting the channel in, we can probably see that happening. There's been a channel, a downward channel for Ethereum as well, and it's broken out of that. So we're at $167 at the moment for Ethereum, and it's broken over 70 EMA, is broken over the 50 EMA. I'm going to go to the weekly. So the weekly for Ethereum, I'm going to go to Ethereum USD. In fact, we'll go Coinbase, as that got a longer span. What's got the longest span? And it'll be Bitstamp. Might be Bitstamp. That's not. It's 1 wee second here. I'll get this. Bitfinex. Would it have Bitfinex? No. Coinbase might be. Yeah. Okay. I think there's a longer span than that. There is, but I can't find it just now. Let's go to daily. There was one. Right. Okay. We'll just ignore that and just keep with this. So on the daily, we've not crossed over on the daily yet. 1 second. Sorry, we've crossed over on the daily, and we've not crossed over on the weekly chart for this, for the 70 EMA crossing over the 50 EMA for Ethereum, but we're moving up towards that. That's probably going to happen within the next couple of weeks, I would imagine, and it doesn't happen often. You can see it's happened once here. It kind of briefly done it on 3rd of June 2019, the start of that, and kind of went up to about $368. It's at $168 just now, so I reckon we're going to get up to 200 first, then we're going to get up to the magical kind of 300 level and break that again. It'll happen this year. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to happen this year. We did get down to $121, but if you look on Bitcoin, BTC, USD, we can see we've crossed over on the weekly quite clearly. When we go in, the 70 EMA is crossed over on the 50 EMA, and that doesn't happen often. Last time it happened was 26th of April 2019, and the time before that was back in 2015 when it crossed over. But possibly more significantly is the MACD. The MACD doesn't cross over very often either. The last time it crossed over was the 4th of February 2019, and that's when we were down here at 3,400. Crossed over there to jump up by about $10,000. The MACD is now crossing over again on Bitcoin. You can see here, just crossing over. Depends on this price. We're going to see a little green kind of bar here. It's not green yet, but once that goes up in price, it's going to cross over. So that's just a crossover coming up just now. So that could in and of itself spark a rally. But if we look at Ethereum USD as well, and we're just going to go to, we'll just use Bitstamp as well. We're seeing a crossover here with Ethereum USD, and that's not happened very often. I think it's happened 4 times in the past. So 17th of December 2018 was the last time it happened, and went from $85 up to $369. Obviously came back down again, but that is the last time it crossed over. It's crossing over again. You can see this green bar, and that's probably going to happen with Bitcoin. We're probably just a week out for Bitcoin, but that is 2 signals that could spark the rally for the crypto rally, not just for Bitcoin, but for altcoins as well, particularly the larger altcoins. And it'd be interesting to see Litecoin as well. Just have a look at Litecoin. Litecoin is just crossing over, so a lot of the larger ones are just crossing over. The last time it happened for Litecoin, again 17th of December, and we've seen a big, huge rally there for Litecoin. Same with Ethereum. XRP, be interesting to see that. We'll just have a look at that as well. So we crossed over for XRP on the weekly, around about here, when it went up to 3,800, and it was down to 2,500. So we crossed over there already for XRP. Cardano, we'll just look at the USD, sorry. USD, look in Binance, just crossing over here, probably crossed over 4 or 5 weeks ago. And so we're on 45 cents at the minute. Sorry, 4.5 cents. No, 45 cents for Cardano. So the major alts are crossing over on a weekly MACD, which is amazing to see, but that could signal a major crypto rally. And we're talking about an altcoin run as well as a Bitcoin run as well. So we need to wait and see if that pans out, if it plays out. But those signals alone with the MACD could indicate something big is coming soon. And hopefully it's going to happen with Bitcoin, and it's going to happen with Ethereum and the altcoins as well. But Ethereum, I'm just extremely bullish on Ethereum just now. Extremely bullish. I just think we're going to climb up, and we're going to get to this level again, the $300 level. That'll be an increase of what, around 84%. That'll be a good rate of return there, and I think we're just going to keep on climbing after that as well. Ethereum USD, we're going to have to go to, difficult to know which one. So let's put the bases in there. And that's the target to reach, around $300. And where do we go after that? Probably talking around about 375. Looking for major resistances and support lines. But then we've got a big kind of no man's land again, up to 790. So I think this could be the start of an Ethereum kind of rally, and I'm getting more and more into Ethereum as well. Again, I've got ETNs for Ethereum, which you can sell at any time, but I'm collecting more and more ETNs and physical Ethereum as well. I think I'm now up to physical. I've got ETNs and I've got about 11 or 12 physical and about 10 in ETNs. So let me know what you think of that. Could this spark a major Bitcoin rally? The MACD crossovers, is it significant to you? It certainly is significant for traders. When they look at that, when they see that, could be a bullish signal for them, and that could trigger an unconscious spark to actually start buying again. Gina Dow, hi Steve and everyone. Could you look at Tron, please? Yes, I will indeed. Kundalini is saying Tron is not that good. Axel is in the house. Mervyn Skidmore for Cardano. Barbara Taylor is back with us. Good to see you here. Smash the likes. I was number 11. He could use way more than that. For the likes, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Hot not looking good. More and more hot is going into that basket I've been talking about. But we'll just can look at that after. So we'll go over to the news. This is the kind of major news. India's central bank asserts cryptocurrencies have not been banned. We kind of knew that already, but a lot of people were just presuming that cryptocurrencies were banned in India, but they weren't banned technically. So India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, has clarified that it has not prohibited cryptocurrencies in the country. Rather, authorities are focused on enhancing regulations to prevent illegal financial activities. The news will bring relief to many investors who have had to endure several months of uncertainty regarding their investments, and the RBI had previously ordered banks in the country to deny services to cryptocurrency-related entities, which began a protracted debate. So the RBI has offered some explanation about the status of cryptocurrencies in India following a case against the agency in the country's Supreme Court. The central bank said that it has not banned cryptocurrencies, but rather has taken steps to protect financial institutions from being subject to risks associated with the asset class. So the case is brought to the Supreme Court, which was released an affidavit that had been filed on September the 4th. So firstly, the RBI has not prohibited VCs, virtual currencies in the country. The RBI has directed the entities regulated by it to not provide services to those persons or entities dealing in or settling virtual currencies. The RBI has been able to ring-fence the entities regulated by it from being involved in activities that pose reputational and financial risks, along with other legal and operational risks. So that's good news, actually. This could be actually huge news. I know it wasn't technically banned before, but I think most people just presumed that it was going for heavy regulation. So in effect, there was a kind of ban there, but they're backtracking now and saying it's not been banned because of this Supreme Court kind of hearing as well. So that could be really good news for Bitcoin and the crypto markets as a whole. On the back of that, good news for Bitcoin in India and Binance's WazirX token sale. So just hours after India's central bank clarified its stance towards cryptocurrencies, Binance announced a new token sale for its recently acquired Indian Bitcoin exchange. And they're saying lucky timing, ? Don't bet on it. Today's India's central bank appeared to soften its hostile regulatory stance towards cryptocurrencies. Just hours later, the world's leading cryptocurrency exchange by market volume launched a token sale for its newest acquisition, India crypto exchange WazirX WZX. I said Binance bought Mumbai-based WazirX in November for between 5 and 10 million, and one of the main goals is to add more fiat currencies to Binance and work with local partners to add as many fiat to crypto pairs as possible. And Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao said at the time, Founded in March 2018, WazirX has a monthly trading volume of 30 million and more than 200,000 app downloads. Acquiring the peer-to-peer exchange enables Binance to gain a foothold in India and access a market of over 1 billion people via a fiat on-ramp for the Indian rupee. I think that's a brilliant move by Binance, and that's what I keep saying. They've got their fingers in many pies. They're doing so many things all around the world, and I just think it's going to cement their kind of place in cryptocurrency even more. That's why it's good to buy the BNB token as well. I think it's just a good price just now, $18 at the moment, and we'll look at that after. So is that a coincidence? Did he know about it? What's going on as well? Be good to know actually, but still a good move from Binance. Ray Dalio says central banks won't touch Bitcoin. VanEck exec thinks he could be wrong. So as reported by U Today, Bridgewater Associates co-founder Ray Dalio poured some cold water over Bitcoin at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which is a forum uniting plutocrats from around the world. The billionaire at the helm of the world's largest hedge fund opined that central banks will keep holding gold instead of its digital version. While VanEck's digital asset strategist Gabor Gurbax thinks that Dalio could be right as of now, but things could change dramatically in a few years. So he didn't mince words when criticising the US dollar either, and the Federal Reserve by outright calling cash trash. When it came to Bitcoin, he apparently doesn't think that Bitcoin can function as money because of its extreme volatility. And I tend to agree with that at the moment. But I don't think, obviously it is because of the extreme volatility. And we spoke about earlier about whales, etc. as well. How do we deal with that? How do we deal with the amount of whales out there as well? Because I think there's about 10 million Bitcoin it's not been used in about a year or something from the wallets. It's not been transferred, it's not been kind of bought, it's not been sold, it's not been traded. 10 million Bitcoin. So somebody's kind of holding, or a lot of people are holding that 10 million Bitcoin. So we could still be in it for a rough ride and a lot of volatility over the next couple of years until more of that gets put into circulation and different entities buy it. The question here in you today was, can we have both Dalio and his fellow goldbug Peter Schiff seem to be convinced that gold will prevail and Bitcoin will be forgotten as another speculative fad, thus exacerbating the civil war between the two camps? However, there are also prominent investors who believe that these two assets can peacefully coexist. And Digital Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz said that he was long both on gold and Bitcoin in response to Dalio's doomy essay about the broken financial system. So could it coexist, or is one going to beat the other? Does it need to be a competition? Could they coexist? I think they could. This is a big story as well. Bank of England eyes the Bitcoin market. Group of 6 central banks considered digital currency launch amid claim it could boost the economy. So proponents of the central bank digital currencies believe they could improve financial inclusion. And Bank of England has said introducing a CBDC could increase UK GDP by 3%. Sweden's Riksbank plans to create a pilot digital currency known as e-krona. And I've said this before last year as well, more and more we're going to have sovereign currencies, we're going to have bank currencies as well. So we're starting to see that now. 6 central banks, including the Bank of England, will investigate whether there is a strong case for creating a central bank digital currency in their respective countries. And Deputy Governor of the Bank of England, John Cunliffe, will co-chair the group, along with Benoit Coeur, who runs the Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub, which is also getting involved. The Bank of England said the new working group will look at CBDC use cases, economic, functional and technical design choices, including cross-border interoperability and the sharing of knowledge on emerging technologies. Could this be really good for XRP as well? If they kind of look at the CBDC and say this is not for us, but we could still look at cross-border payments, XRP could be really good for them. So it depends on what they kind of go with, but the point here is not just about them issuing a CBDC or even looking at CBDC. The point here is they're looking at digital currencies. They'll obviously be looking at blockchain as a solution as well to that. So it's good that's coming more and more to the fore. US government continues digging a hole of debt. Bitcoin keeps growing. So this is talking about kind of Bitcoin and they're borrowing their way out of and kind of printing money. So United States Treasury has announced a return of a 20-year bond as it faces mounting deficits with more than $23 trillion worth of debt owed by the US. Come up with ways to rake in interest is becoming a much greater portion of the national budget. The budget deficit is set to pass $1 trillion in 2020 for the first time ever. So loads of things going on with the economy just now. That's just not looking good for the whole economy in the US and the UK and the EU as well. It's just not looking good at all. And yet the markets are still going up. People are still buoyant and still bullish. And it's just clear to me that this is just getting worse and worse and worse. How do they sort it? And obviously they're thinking Bitcoin could be the way forward for this as well. So two separate things. I'm kind of really worried about where the economy is going all over the world. Obviously we look at America as well, we look at the UK, we look at the EU as well. That kind of dictates what kind of happens everywhere else. But I think it's just not looking good just now, and I do get worried. This was a news story I kind of seen from Gordy Boy, I think, how the crypto world is preparing for quantum computing. I'll post a link to that. I'm not going to kind of talk about it because I didn't read it in depth or anything, and I've got my own kind of opinions on that as well. But it's just looking at quantum computing. I think it's a few years away for it. Is it going to kind of disrupt blockchain? Yes, it could. Is it going to disrupt Bitcoin? Yes, it could, but I don't think it's going to. And there's lots of different reasons for that. So that's a news story I was looking at. Okay, we'll dive back. We'll start to look at the charts in a wee second. I'll just see who else has joined us. Josh is in the house. Kundalini 222. Funny news about the lady from Hall Chain. Yes, that was kind of what you were talking about yesterday, or somebody was talking about that. Paul Van Gosman is in the house. Substratum keeps hanging around. I thought they went broke. Yeah, I think. I don't know what's going on with them. We looked at that the other day. The exit scammed with Ethereum. Big things kind of happened there, so I don't know what's going on with Substratum, but that was a big one in the past. Okay, we'll look at some charts. So we have, who's the first one to look? Can you look at Tron, please? Waves, sorry, Natasha, I knew there was something. Waves. So just look at Waves. Waves looks really good for the future, and I think it's going to ride this kind of wave we've got going on just now with the DeFi space. But the other good thing as well, we can see that was way back. When was that? Back in November. Yeah, the other good thing is we're close to the bottom for Waves as well. So it's like almost getting in at the bottom for Waves. Not the all-time low. I think it might be the all-time low actually. Yeah. The all-time low down here was around about 7,400. So we're at 9,990. So I think there's a long way to go, and you could see a 300, 400, 500% increase for Waves coming up as well. At the moment you're looking kind of from a micro point of view then. So if we've looked at it from a macro point of view, the micro point of view is coming up to 78.6% line here. This is on a fib retracement kind of tool, and this is not set in stone obviously, but we're on that kind of cusp line just now, and that's from the crossover. I'm just going to do it from the bottom. So it's still touched that 78.6% level and bouncing up from there. So it could be a good time to get in to Waves just now. It's just kind of going flowing along nicely just now over the last couple of weeks. Just going sideways in a minute. So we'll just look at the 4 hourly. So really what we're looking for is an entry. So last time it crossed over in the 4 hourly was the 11th of December 2019. So I would be looking probably for a crossover on the 4 hourly before I entered. So is it a buy right this minute? I wouldn't say right this minute. If you believe in it for the long term, yes, definitely, because there's accumulation at these zones, at these prices. really good accumulation zone, I think, if you believe in waves, and I do think it's going to really take off this year as well. But if you're looking for an entry, if you're looking to trade it, it's not an entry point just now. Wait for this 7 EMA crossing over the 50 EMA. We've got crossover on the MACD, which is good. We've got low RSI, which is good as well. Obviously, you can see we did have high volume there. It's come back down again, but it's higher than the average over the last 30 days as well. So you could speculate and just say, well, this is probably going to go up and cross over in the 4 hourly. And I tend to agree with you, but if you're looking, I'd probably go and just look at the risk to reward ratio. Risk to reward ratio is actually really good. I'm just going to go up there. That'd be the first point. Now I'd be saying probably here. So 5.44. I'd say the risk to reward ratio, the first kind of part would probably be breaking through that. So risk to reward ratio is 1.81. But more likely the risk to reward ratio is 5.31, something like that. So you're risking about 1.6%, which is not bad at all. That's a brilliant kind of risk to reward ratio if you're only risking kind of 2% of what you're putting into it. So yeah, I think waves is going to move. Yeah, I think that could be a really good one. Natasha Sakamoto, hope that helps. Tron, TRX, BTC. Yeah, looking good. 4 hourly looks good. On the daily, will be looking good as well. So just crossing over there. I spoke about Tron back in September. I said it was going to break out from here, and it did break out big time. Let's get rid of these. So where are we in today's kind of market? We've crossed over on the daily, which is a good sign. We're crossing over on the MACD again here. These are different time frames as well. Volume has gone up. RSI is 60. It's not too high, but it's high-ish, but it's not too high. You can see if we kind of go down, we've been way higher than that for the RSI. On Tron, when was that? We're talking back here. It was up at 524. So yeah, it looks good for Tron. It could be a good move to get into Tron just now. And I'm just going to pull this down. That's probably around about there. Is going to be your base. Yeah, so it could be a good move to get into Tron just now. Take your and do your own research. And it's no financial advice, obviously. But yeah, Tron looks good as well. For a trade. Cardano's looking great as well, to be honest. ADA, BTC. Crossed over on the MACD. We've got high RSI. It's kind of gone up. But I did say the other day this first resistance needs to be kind of broken through first. We got very close to it, 541. So we're at kind of 547 for the first resistance, first major resistance. Once we break through that, then you're up to 645 really from there before you meet your next resistance. So I think crossed over on the daily, it looks really good. RSI is just a tiny bit high, but I still think you've got more to go. MACD is crossed over. Volume is picking up over the last couple of days, and you can see as well over the last couple of weeks. So all looks good for Cardano just now. Van Gosman, subscribe with ETH. Enigma chart. I'll look at Enigma. ENG, BTC. Right, so on the daily, so let's do fundamentals. First, we've got the all-time low there, bounced off the bottom from there. We're crossing down over on the daily. That was back in December at 5,500, and it kind of went down from there, and it's not gone back up over the daily. So that's bearish, obviously. We've got bullish MACD coming up there. It's just crossing over just now, which is good sign. We've got low RSI, which is a good sign. Volume is starting to pick up a wee bit here as well. So we have to then go down to the 4 hourly, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it just now. So locally, I'm going to put the support being there. We can see it's touched that a couple of times, and what I'm going to do, and it's all about kind of this risk to reward. So I'm going to put this first. So I need to put the next resistance in. Here's the next resistance, and we're talking about local resistance on the 4 hourly. And do here 4,815 for your next one. Just go back to the auto, and then we're looking at 5,000. Okay, so we have to put in the risk to reward ratio here because the MACD is crossing over, which is a good sign, and the RSI is low, which is good. It has gone lower than that, we can see that, and volume is starting to pick up slightly. So we'll be looking at risk to reward and just kind of assessing that. So what is the risk to reward? So you put your stop loss around about 4,300, I would put it at, or just below 4,300. So that's risking 2.56%, and we're going up to here. So we've got a risk to reward ratio of 3.58, which is really good. That's up to the first target. Up to the second target, got a risk to reward ratio of 5.19. So looking at this, we've got kind of support here on a 4 hourly chart. We've got kind of support. It's not strong support, I would say. We've got kind of support there. If it falls below that, then you're only going to risk 2.56% for a possible gain up to the first level here, first resistance, probably of about a gain of 8.73%, and then gaining up to 13%. So it's a good risk to reward ratio trade, I would say, if you're looking at it from that point of view. For the long term, it could be really good as well. You need to look more into that, but your long-term support is 2,876. So it's quite away from that as well, so you just have to be really careful, but you're only going to risk a few percentage points if you do decide to take that trade, and it could be worth it. And BSV is starting to gain a following. A lot of people are talking about BSV again, but we'll see. If you're trading it, that's fine. I just refuse to trade it. I know it's silly because it's kind of money on, I could be leaving off the table, but it's just my principle is just I'm not doing it. Waves will dominate the emerging Russian market. I think it's going to do really well. I think Waves gone to 0.016 TRX trade. Excellent. Kundalini, cheers. I'm buying Enigma for long term. Brilliant, brilliant. Martin Gakir is in the house as well. Good morning to you. Good to see you here. Okay, we'll just dive over to the Bitcoin chart to finish up with and see if anything is changing. 8640 just now. So turning red. This is weekly, turning red, but we've just started the week. I'll just go to daily and just kind of moving sideways in a minute. So on the daily, kind of crossing down over on the MACD. But I think MACDs are really useful longer term when you're looking at longer term, or when you're trading for shorter term as well. They're quite useful. Okay, that's it. I'm going to leave it there for just now. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Last one out, hit the like button, please. That would be fantastic if you could do that. If you enjoy the videos, that would be fantastic. And if you're watching this on a replay, let me know in the comments what you think about this video. And I'll be doing another video kind of later on, a couple of hours time. I'll just be condensing all this and putting another video up for you as well. Okay, until tomorrow, namaste. Take care. Bye now.